Tom Lee, a famous Wall Street strategist, just said something shocking that has the whole crypto world on edge. $18.9 trillion could soon be flowing into XRP. If that happens, it could change everything we know about the cryptocurrency market. The sheer size of the amount is enough to knock anyone out. For those who don't know, stop and take notice of as one of the most respected voices in the financial industry. Tom Lee's predictions and insights are closely watched by investors. When he speaks, people listen. So when he made this bold prediction about XRP, everyone in the crypto community began to wonder if it could really happen. XRP has been around for a long time, but it's never seen this much attention or potential capital flow. The idea that nearly $19 trillion could be going into XRP might sound too good to be true, but Lee has his reasons. His prediction is based on a number of things, such as the fact that institutions are becoming more interested in cryptocurrency and XRP's possible role in that interest. If Tom Lee's dream comes true, XRP could become one of the most important players in the global financial system, bringing in huge investments from all over the world. The possibilities are truly mind-boggling, and XRP holders and investors are still trying to wrap their heads around this huge number. The big question is, how will this huge flow of capital affect the market? We'll look at Tom Lee's bold prediction, break down how $18.9 trillion could reach XRP, and talk about what it all means for the future of this cryptocurrency in this video. This is a game-changing moment, and you won't want to miss what comes next to fully understand how serious Tom Lee's prediction is. Guess future first. Let's talk about who Tom Lee is and why his opinions are so important in the financial world. Tom Lee is the co-founder of Fundstrap Global Advisors and a former top strategist at JP Morgan. He is one of the most respected financial strategists out there. Lee has become known for giving sharp views into both standard and online stores. A lot of investors have changed their minds because of what he says, and a lot of them believe him to make accurate market predictions over the years. People like Tom Lee have talked a lot about the potential of cryptocurrencies, especially Bitcoin. He really believes that digital assets like Bitcoin and XRP are the future of global banking. He is known as someone who knows where the market is going because he has a history of calling big market moves, especially in the crypto area. He doesn't always get it right, but most of the time his guesses are based on good study and a deep understanding of how the market works. Lee has a lot of power because he has a deep understanding of the world. Since he knows a lot about both traditional finance and cryptocurrencies, he is in a unique position to make connections between classic finance and the quickly changing world of digital assets, especially for XRP, which is trying to become a link between regular banks and the world of blockchain-based transactions. This is very important. The claim that $18.9 trillion could move into XRP is not a guess. It's based on a number of factors, including the fact that big banks are becoming more interested in cryptocurrencies. XRP is being used more and more in the global banking system, and the financial world as a whole is moving toward using digital currencies. But how did he really come to this conclusion? What's the story behind this mind-boggling number? Let's look into Tom Lee's statement in more depth and see how he thinks this huge influx of capital into XRP will play out. Tom Lee thinks that $18.9 trillion could flow into XRP. This number may seem crazy at first, but let's look at how he came up with it and why he thinks it's possible. It's not only possible, but it might also happen. To understand this, we need to take a closer look at the things that are making XRP grow, especially the growing interest from institutional investors and the growing role that XRP could play in the global financial system. First, let's talk about institutional adoption. Over the past few years, we've seen a big rise in the number of institutions that use XRP, change in how big banks think about coins. What used to be seen as a risky market is now becoming a place where big banks and even governments are starting to pay more attention. Companies like JP Morgan are one example. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are already being used by PayPal and other companies, and this is likely to continue. Ripple is the only cryptocurrency that can really take advantage of this trend because it can handle transactions quickly and cheaply. The company that created XRP has been working with banks and other financial institutions to come up with ways for people to send and receive money across borders. Tom Lee says that this growing institutional adoption is a big reason why the $18 could go up. $9 trillion was put in investment second. Payments around the world are changing quickly, and XRP is at the center of that change. Cross-border transfers have always been expensive and slow. Companies like Swift have been leaders in this field for decades. but faster blockchain-based systems are starting to challenge them. Ripple's work with a number of financial institutions all over the world see XRP as a possible solution to this long-standing problem. If XRP becomes the standard for global payments, the number of transactions and capital flowing into XRP could skyrocket. This is where Lee's $18.9 trillion number comes from. XRP has a huge chance to become an important part of the global payments market. Finally, regulatory clarity is a key part of Tom Lee's forecast. Uncertainty about regulation has been one of the biggest problems with using cryptocurrencies. But now, governments around the world are starting to make rules for digital assets that are easier to understand. The use of XRP in the money system might be clearer if the XRP could get even more financial and government support, which would bring in even more money. Lee's $18.9 trillion prediction isn't just wishful thinking. It's based on the fact that more and more people are realizing how useful XRP could be in the global banking system. The growing interest among institutions in cryptocurrencies and the technological advantages that XRP offers over traditional systems. But this much money doesn't just appear overnight. These changes will take time to happen. But if XRP can keep adding new uses and attracting big financial players, the $18.9 trillion could very well happen. Now let's look at what would happen if such a huge amount of money came into XRP. Let's take a look at what it means for buyers and the future of cryptocurrency and how it might affect the price of XRP. Now that we know how Tom Lee's guessed that it would be $18.90, it's possible that $1 trillion will flow into XRP. Let's look at what this huge influx of capital might mean for XRP, its price, and the cryptocurrency market as a whole. If this much money does actually flow into XRP, it would cause a huge shift in the crypto space, not just for XRP but for the whole digital asset market. First, let's talk about price appreciation. XRP, like many cryptocurrencies, have had a lot of price changes over the years, but a steady flow of institutional capital could cause a big price jump. For example, if $18.9 trillion were to move into XRP, its market cap would go up by a huge amount. There would be a huge rise in XRP